It's August 9th and a beautiful day here as we head north from Bundaberg on the first step of our journey toward Cairns and then eventually Darwin. We left Bundaberg Port Marina at 4 o'clock in the morning and it was chilly, about 11 degrees. So we are completely kitted out here as we head north. Now it's starting to warm up. We're getting into the mid-teens. And behind us is coming main event, the ferry, high-speed ferry that takes people on their Lady Musgrave adventure. That's our first stop, Lady Musgrave Island. And we'll stay there for at least a night, if not two. Yeah. And on the horizon, Lady Musgrave starting to appear. But before we get there, we got to go through a bit of traffic here. First one's going to miss us by about half a mile. And the second one, you can't see the data, but it's going to miss us by about 2.5 miles. It's interesting to watch on the AIS how the first ship there altered course 15 degrees to starboard to give us a little more room. Rather than passing at about a half a mile now, it's actually going to be passing us by about a mile.
Yeah, I can see the difference.
There's a whale over there on this side of the reef, just to the right-hand side of the island. And we just saw it, I just saw it actually breach twice. The first time I didn't know what it was. I'm waiting to see if maybe we can see it happen again. There's also a sailboat in the lagoon, and I think probably the white thing that I sometimes see in there is main event. And dolphins. I don't know where they are right now. They were there a second ago.
There are two of them. Watching for skirts.
Not a big one, but it's August 10th and we're here at Lady Musgrave the little island here at this atoll, part of Capricornia Keys National Park. And it's low tide pretty well, but we came ashore anyway. And Prince Diamond's out there. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good today. While we were leaving in the dark, 4 o'clock in the morning for this place from Bundaberg, I noticed that the stern light on the boat was only about half bright lit, and then slowly over the hour it faded out and went out completely. So I spent 2 days trying to find the bad connection, and I won't bore you with the whole thing. You can imagine what a lot of work it was. And eventually I found the corrosion inside one of the Wago terminals. What's a Wago terminal, you ask? Well, it's a main switching place in the boat for all the DC wiring. I had to look it up on the internet to find out what these darn things are, and they're just plastic connector blocks laid out in banks. Wires come in and they're clamped in there, and the beauty of the thing is that the harder, they're like a spring-loaded clamp, and so the harder you pull on the wire, the more tightly it's gripped. So they're good connectors. But this one, for some reason, this T connector where it joined the main bank, had corrosion all inside of it. So anyway, once I found that, it solved the problem. So things are good.
So there's a map here that explains, actually call that the vessel loading area. Maybe that's for those boats that have the...
Yeah, there we are. We're exactly where that thing was. You're here. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So we're just off for a little walk here on the islet and see if there's anybody else on the shore at this time. Main event left us a little while ago, and before that there was all kinds of people over here. Nice little walking trail. Here were some signposts on it. Are you harboring a hitchhiker? Yes, as you know, in Australia they're very concerned about their biosecurity. Dispose of your weed seeds here. No rubbish, please. If you find any seeds from weeds, I assume that's what they're talking about, not marijuana. Put them there. Oh, this is beautiful. Wow. Lovely little glen, didn't expect this. Nice little forest. Tomorrow we're off. We can be here for a day, as you know, we're here for 2 nights, and tomorrow we're off for Pancake Creek, a place where you go up a creek, which is only obviously a creek at low tide with high sandbanks around it. The tides here are, you know, 2 meters, I guess, something like that. Later on, we get up toward Darwin, we're going to be having tides of 8 meters, like 24 feet. It's pretty amazing. This is the camping area. When we were rounding the island to head over toward the entrance to the lagoon, I saw some guy hanging laundry over here somewhere. Huh. Some sort of little ranger cabin or something.
So the camping is right here along the beach.
Yeah, low tide. We'll just do a half circumnavigation of the beach, of the island here, and then get back to the dinghy because we think the tide is going out.
Actually, I think we may actually be at just past low tide, so it may start coming back up.
Okay, one way or other, it's got to go take care of the dinghy. There we are. The water here isn't too bad. It's like swimming pool temperature. So Carol's taken that opportunity to go and do a little snorkeling around this place where they have the couple of these balls laid out. There's another boat over there doing the same thing. This is interesting here. You can see the tide is out quite a bit, and you've got the reef sticking up out of the water. And what's growing on the top of the reef there is some sort of coral, I guess, that actually looks like tundra. I guess it's a kind of coral that's used to being exposed twice a day. And as the tide goes out, the reef around here really comes out of the water. It's out by about 1 meter or 2. And then at high tide, it goes down so it's just under the water. And you get some slopping of the swells over the reef and makes the anchorage a little bit more interesting. But last night was beautiful because most of the night was not anywhere near high tide, so the place was quite comfortable. Yeah, on the 11th of August, we're headed back toward the mainland. Lady Musgrave was the farthest offshore that we expect to go on our way up to Cairns. And now we're going to close the coast, and tomorrow we're going to go up the channel past Gladstone, which is kind of exciting, and I'll get into more of that tomorrow. But right at the moment, we've got some more beautiful weather today. Light winds, and the wind should remain light for a few days.
Over.
As we close the mainland on a sail of about 36 or so miles today, or maybe a little more, maybe about 40 miles today. Not bad at all. It was interesting that when we came out of Lady Musgrave out through the channel, we were again going into some current, but on the way into Lady Musgrave, the water was below the reef line, so there was a lot of current coming out of that entranceway. This morning there was still water lapping over the reefs and getting into the lagoon over the reef, so the current coming in was just moderate, not bad at all. But I couldn't see anything because of the position of the sun being so low, so I just stuck in between the center of the markers and had no problem. And on the way out, I saw what I believe to be a log floating in the water, like a long tree floating in the water. And it wasn't until Carol came out and said, "Oh, there's a whale there," that I realized, yeah, it was actually the back of a humpback whale. It didn't look like a whale to me because it wasn't moving at all, and it wasn't spouting at all, but it was very close. It was probably only about 15-20 meters away as we came out, and I was avoiding it as a tree. But anyway, we did the right thing. We didn't go over to bother it. Obviously it was sleeping, and I assume that when they're sleeping they don't breathe all that often. So anyway, it was sleeping on the surface, I guess, and that's the closest we've been to a whale with the boat. We didn't want to disturb it once we discovered what it was, or decided what it was. Now we just carried on our way, but that's kind of exciting too. There's been a lot of whale spouts sightings as we've been sailing yesterday and today. Not so much today. Carol saw one, or a couple a little earlier. I haven't seen anything yet myself, but on the way up to Lady Musgrave there were a lot of spouts happening all the time, basically. So we're heavily into that season. Well, this made us slow right down. There's a discoloration on the water there that almost looked a bit like reef, but actually now you can see what it is here. It's kind of a pollen.
Yeah, white dusty substance.
It's like a pollen on the water or something. Anyway, made us worry because it looked just like reef, but it was It's all deep water around here. Here's some more of it going by. Yeah, I was thinking, what the heck? Didn't want to go charging full speed into a reef. Well, this is us in Gladstone. We didn't plan on spending the night here, but we went to the marina, which is just in behind there. A very nice place. And we were there because our planned anchorage at Pancake Creek turned out to be a pretty poor choice, according to the rumors. So we decided not to even attempt that. And instead we went to find a couple of anchorages in the Rod Peninsula area. Anchorages that weren't mentioned in the guidebook but were shown on my chart. And so we went into the entrance of Rod Harbor and 7 Mile Creek and hit a river bar that doesn't show up on the chart. And so we got nicely slammed by that. The bar came up so quickly that the depth alarm didn't even sound until after we hit. And we were in 4.5 meters, ended up in 1.6 meters. And eventually, after about 20 minutes of maneuvering and trying to get the bow out to sea and pushing along it at maximum RPM, we did get the boat off the sand. And then the question was, where are we going to go now? So we decided that in our fragile condition, we needed to come here to Gladstone, 20 more miles, and we got here after dark. But with the help of the port controller, he was able to raise the marina before they closed on the radio, and so they knew we were coming. So that's what we've done, and we've decided not to go through the Narrows because the amount of space we'd have under our keel is going to be something like 4 inches. So that's about all. And although I would have loved to have sailed over a cattle crossing, that would have been very cool, but it's not worth it if it's unsafe. The boat would have, if the boat had gotten stuck there, it would have been stuck good, because that area dries out to 2 meters above the water level, so that's like 6 feet. So it's quite dry, and the boat would be laying completely on its side. That might let water come in on the flood or on the ebb as well, and we just did not want to have to deal with that situation. So you know, water in the boat would be just tragic for the electrics and everything like that. So it's just not worth it. It's not that. It's just not something that we need to do. So we're going to go out via the North Channel, get outside Curtis Island, and go north and stop for the night at Capricorn Cape. I think Cape Capricorn. Not a lot of protection, but then again, the wind is supposed to be pretty light, so I think we're going to be all right. And that's where we are right now, just heading out toward the North Channel. Well, as we're just leaving the North Channel, I noticed that a speedboat had suddenly turned around. That's because there's a couple of whales out there. They went over to take a look at them. I think they're close. Oh, right over here on the starboard bow. Yeah, they swam underneath the boat. And at the end of the day, we ended up here. This is Cape Capricorn, and there's actually a lighthouse in that direction, just out of sight from this angle. We're just in behind the cape. It's a place that boats will often anchor at to get away from the southeast trades, but there's often a nasty swell that comes around the corner. But today the wind is out of the northwest, which is very unusual, but it's very, very light. So this is an appropriate place to stay. We're actually on a lee shore, but it should be fine for the night. The lighthouse that's up there isn't manned anymore. It's an automatic one, of course, as they all are these days. But in the old days, they used to bring supplies up on a inclined railway. There's part of it you can see right there. Now there's houses up there that are privately owned. We can only see one from this angle, this one up here. We watched a car come down to the beach shortly after we arrived, helping a friend to launch his boat, which had been on the stones there when we arrived, or pulled up to the beach, and drove right up the car. Well, as we watched it, went this way and then right up there. It was quite amazing. Obviously four-wheel drive, and it was bucking and kicking stones all the way to the top. I don't know how reliable that path is, but anyway, it was fun to watch it do that. Good morning, and look at this weather. We got a couple of whales out here. I'm not sure exactly where they are right at the moment. Oh, there they are out there.
Coast Guard Yeppoon, Coast Guard Yeppoon, Coast Guard Yeppoon. This is your 4 bells.
I came out of the cabin, prepare to move on to Keppel Island, Great Keppel Island, and heard the breathing. They're quite a bit farther away now, though.
Vessel 4 bells, this is BP 88 or channel 8.
Thank you for that, Letman. I'll try channel 88. 4 bells out.
Yeah, we're sliding by our friends there. About a quarter mile, a half mile off the port beam. No breaching, just occasional puffs of steam. We're headed north to Great Keppel Island, about another 25 miles north of us. Just a gentle day's sail on a lovely day. we'll get there in the mid-afternoon. That's about 2 miles away. That's a busy whale. This is Great Keppel Island, a long bay. It's Sunday night, so I think a lot of the boats are here for the weekend. Maybe leaving in a while, I don't know. Yeah, more whales. That one's only a couple hundred feet away from us. Maybe 150 feet, that's all. Well, it's the 15th of August. We're heading off again toward the Percy Islands. And there are whales out here. Just trying to see where they've gone. They're fairly close. Only about 30 meters away or so. But they've gone down now, so I'm not sure where they are. Beautiful morning. We're pressing on at high speed because we got a long way to go. We had a very, very lovely, enjoyable anchorage up Port Clinton River here last night. It was just wonderful. One of the best sleeps I've had. Yeah, I haven't seen them. Now, must be back here somewhere, but they dove. Well, 52 nautical miles to get here to Middle Percy Island today, but it was a very calm day and everything went very well. At times, because of the current, we were making almost 9 knots, which means that there was about 2 knots of current going. We were moving at quite a RPM, about 2,600 RPM, much faster than we normally do, but with that kind of distance to cover, we had to make some speed. Anyway, we got here, and we're now in White's Bay on Middle Percy Island. And this is a very beautiful spot. We're going to stay here for tomorrow. And then tomorrow night decide whether the next jump over to the town of Mackay and their marina is going to be a very early get up in the night, which is probably going to be the case, or then an overnight. It's about 70 miles, so overnight might be a bit much, but very early start, say 3 o'clock in the morning, that might work out okay too. Tomorrow we'll go ashore to Middle Percy. We're not going to leave in tomorrow at all. We'll just relax here for a bit. We need a bit of a time off. We've been traveling almost continually. And we'll go ashore and check out some of this place. Looks very interesting. Lots of sand dunes.
There's a whale right beside the boat. I heard him breathing. Yes, there he is right there. It's not even 30 feet away. There's a whale right here. I heard him breathing. Now I don't know where he is. I can't miss it. Oh, where is he? Here, he's over there.
Did two of them, aren't there?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's do some exploring.
Staggering up the sand.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what it feels like to be an explorer. You come over the hill and here you go. It's such a abrupt stop here that I don't want to go any closer, just in case that's a cliff of some sort.
Yeah.
I thought I might go up here to this tree and take a look over. It probably has a little bit better view.
Bigger island.
Yeah, it's looking down. It's about I don't know, 45 degrees, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going any further this.
No, I just wanted to see what was here.
Holy jeez, yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
I'm looking out over the treetops. And just a bit to the west of where we were, there's this high peak there of sand. And then what looks like a wadi here, a dried riverbed that comes down. The bay here, White's Bay, is named after the Whites family. It's perhaps the most famous of the people who have lived here, at least this place over the years. They're kind of known for having built a boat at their hilltop house and then carried the pieces down one by one and reassembled it by the water. That's all I know about this story. It's very pretty here. Well, we're pretty sure there's wallabies around here because of all the animal tracks, but here with a dragging tail, I'm assuming, it looks like it might be a kangaroo. I got to the next promontory where this stuff from a distance looks like brown grass, but it's actually sand. I just wanted to see into the next bay. We're on the approach here on the boat yesterday. It looked like a really magnificent sand patch that went back into the mountains. And I was just hoping to catch a sight of that. Just because. Carol's back there somewhere at the last promontory. I don't see her now anymore. She may have started heading back to the boat. It was a bit much for her knees. Anyway, I'll return soon. Just in a few minutes, I think, as I get into the breast of the hill here. And this is what is over that hilltop. As far as I'll walk. I think over there is the beginning of that sandy area that I saw. Anyway, lots of sand and stone. Really a testament to the dry weather they have here quite often. Another boat's coming in. This is a popular place. It's a good anchorage, and it's the only island that has any kind of decent anchorages in the area, so constantly people coming in and out. Alright, back to the dinghy.